Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be continuing my spring repotting session. If you haven't seen my last repotting video, you can check it out up here. The last video, we repotted a few anthurium using my soil-free potting mix. Today, I thought I would switch it up and do some semi-hydro repotting instead. So we're going to be repotting some Pon and Leca plants. I do keep majority of my collection either in Pon or Leca, and if they're not in that substrate, they are in my soil-free potting mix. I picked out a few plants that really need a repot, and honestly, they just need some attention because they look kind of crazy. Usually when I'm doing semi-hydro, I use a glass vessel or plastic vessel with no drainage holes. Today, I want to try something different based off of a comment that I received. Kyra actually commented on one of my last videos saying that they use this pot right here for their Leca plants because the Leca is big enough where it doesn't really fall out of the bottom and it has the air slots on the side as well. I figured I would try out this method because the issue that I run into with semi-hydro plants is the bigger they get, the harder it is to find a non-drainage vessel that doesn't break the bank really. So I'm really excited to get some of these plants in here. And since there's drainage at the bottom, I'm just going to use a regular saucer like this. This is a 6-inch deep saucer. I'm going to put the plant like this and fill the saucer as the water reservoir. Now, I know that this works because I use these saucers to actually bottom water some of my bigger plants. Usually what I do is I keep the plant like this, and when it's time to water it, I will just fill the saucer, come back a few hours, and the plant is fully watered. The first plant is this Florida Beauty right here. And all these plants desperately need a moss pole, so we're going to do that today. We're actually going to do a Leca pole instead. I've been letting all of these plants kind of just grow without anything. As you can see, this one has pretty much trained itself to like not really fall over. This one does live in my milsbo. It lives like in the corner, so it kind of just sticks itself against the wall. Here is sort of an up close of the leaves. This one is doing really well and it grows really fast, so I'm excited to get it out of this and get it into something bigger. You can kind of see here that the roots have kind of taken over this entire vessel. So it's really time for a repot now that I'm looking at it. So I have fresh Pon and Leca, but I also plan on reusing all the Pon and Leca these plants are already in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump them all into this container, and then I'm going to clean up the Pon and Leca that was in here. And if I need it, I can use it. But I do have some already on the floor. So here's to hoping that I can actually get this out of this container. Slowly starting to come out, and I'm really hoping that I do not break anything because last time I repotted this plant, I broke it trying to pull it out. So the good thing about doing semi-hydro is that it's easy to repot it because you can just, reuse the material. Usually when I do semi-hydro, I don't mess with the roots too much, but in this case, I'm just cleaning it up as best as I can. But this one has really grown quite a bit. This is a 5.5-inch pot. It's a deeper pot than normal. If you're looking for this pot, I do sell it on my website. You can go ahead and check it out. So I think I'm going to first line the bottom with Leca so that the Pon doesn't really spill out. So I'm going to do a thick layer of Leca at the bottom for all the plants first. And then I'm going to do a mixture of Pon and Leca because Pon is really small, and if you mix it with Leca or even perlite, you can kind of stretch it that way and not use so much Pon, you know what I mean? I really don't want to make a mess. That's why I have it in the container. So I hope that you can see, but this is what we're doing. And then I'm just checking where I want to position the plant. I am going to do a moss pole on this. It's going to be like down here. It's going to be a double moss pole. So right off the bat, I can tell the Leca is not going to come out of the bottom. I'm lifting it up, so that's good to know. And these moss poles I do sell on my site as well. They come in a 2-pack or 4-pack. They come in clear and white, and they are easily extendable. So that's what we're going to do today. The annoying thing with this plant right now is that it's kind of growing in every direction. The first thing I'm going to do is get it secured to the pole so I can get it situated exactly where I want it. I'm using just the regular green Velcro garden tape. I think you can really get it anywhere. You can get it like at Home Depot, Amazon, stuff like that. Just want to start securing it so that I can just have it stable so it doesn't move all over the place while I'm trying to do this. Now I'm trying to not make a mess with this because the moment these get on the floor, the cats go crazy. They love the little Leca pebbles. I'm gonna just take my time and start making this Leca pole. So I don't prefer using moss. And as you can hear, the pebbles are going actually everywhere because they're obviously not all the same size. But I don't like using moss because I just find moss really messy and I just don't like dealing with it. And I know for sure if I do a Leca pole on my semi-hydro, that means that the aerial roots will turn into basically water roots, and then I can easily chop it and make it semi-hydro again, not have to go through that period where I'm transitioning from moss to water again, which I don't want to do. We're gonna do like this for right now, and then I'm gonna put the extension on at the end. So I have some pre-made pon here. This is just my custom pon mix. I make this myself using a bunch of different things, but I also include some Leca in here, like I said, just to stretch it a little bit more. Now I'm just going to repot the plant. And so far so good. Honestly, I never thought to use this pot for like semi-hydro. Like, I find it really expensive sometimes when your plant gets big and you need to find a like plastic or a glass vessel that's like big enough for like, you know, 6 to 8 inch plants. And I think this works great. So I definitely plan on getting more sizes of this in the future. So I definitely feel that this is a versatile pot. You can use it for honestly whatever. If you want to use soil, you want to do semi-hydro. So I'm just filling in some of the gaps, and that's really it. I'm actually really impressed. So Kyra, thanks for coming through with that comment. I would have never thought to use this pot, and this is one of my favorite pots. So I'm really happy that I can have 2 uses for this pot. So what I'm gonna do is extend the top. Here is the other moss pole. So this is really easy to do. You just simply create your second one and you just slide it in. It's really that simple. I like the way it looks. I think it looks great and I'm really excited for it. It's so sticky because it's doing that philodendron thing where it produces like the sap stuff. So my hands are so freaking sticky right now. Great, so here is the plant. I didn't fill it all the way to the top because honestly, I think I'm gonna cut it soon. I think it looks great. This was super easy to do. That's why I really love these moss poles. You can honestly fill them with whatever you want, and it's really simple and easy to do. Here is another up close of the pot. So I just find this less messy than using soil and moss and all that. So this is just what I like to do. I recently seen somebody on Instagram, when they do moss poles, they actually use saran wrap around the aerial roots, like to connect it instead of the green tape. They said it holds a lot more moisture and humidity that way. So maybe I'll do a video on trying that and giving some results as well. So here is the first one. The next plant is my philodendron Jose Bueno. This plant has been living in this little tiny glass container for a really long time, and it's definitely in need of a repot. So I think it's going to be really happy that it gets a bigger pot. I don't know why I wait so long. I just really hate repotting plants. I talked about it in my last video. I just don't like doing it. So you can kind of see it's definitely time. The roots are even coming up out the top, which is not great. I'm going to try to get this out of here. Trying my best to get this out of here, but it's honestly not budging. So it's officially out. That took a little while, but it's out and we didn't lose any roots so far. I am going to just try to massage it out a little bit just because it's been in that container for a really long time. So I'm just gently squeezing it like this just to loosen it. Nothing too serious. So I only loosened it a little bit. I don't want to loosen it too much and start pulling on it and stuff like that. This plant does have some serious aerial roots going on. It's definitely wants a pole, but I really like the bushy look of it, so I'm probably not going to give it one. That's just like how I like this plant to look. Gonna do a Leca layer at the bottom. So I've got my Leca layer at the bottom here. So I honestly don't think I want a moss pole on this. I just like this plant the way it is. So I'm just gonna leave it and I'm just gonna fill around it. desperately trying not to make a mess, but I've definitely dropped a few Leca balls, and these cats already are super intrigued. When they hear that sound, you guys, they go crazy. They think it's like a little toy. So I'm gonna just tap it like this to help settle the Leca and the Pon. And if there are some gaps, usually doing like this will help. Here is the Jose. This looks so good, you guys. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Kyra. Like, I'm obsessed now with this pot. Like, I was already obsessed with this pot, but like now I'm like really obsessed. Here's how it looks. We have a mixture of Pon and Leca again. I just prefer mixing Pon and Leca together. I like both substrates, but I really love them together. Yeah, this is what it's looking like. This plant is one of my absolute favorites, and I just love the bushy look that it has. So that's why I don't want to give it a moss pole, but I think it's looking pretty good, and I think it will be happier now that it's in a bigger pot. The next plant here, this one is another Monstera Adansonii. This is the archipelago, whatever, however you say it. This one was not growing on a pole. It was growing in the corner of one of my Ikea cabinets, and it was like sticking to the wall. It definitely has some arrow roots from it just sticking, but this is how the plant looks. Honestly, I don't know if this is considered low variegation. I really don't know exactly how this plant is supposed to look. When I first got it, it was very minty and it definitely looked like it was supposed to, but now it's not doing that anymore. So I don't really fully understand, but whatever. This one has also been growing in here quite a while, and unfortunately it does have some rot in it, I can tell. So let's get it out of here. And another thing with this plant, it's really leggy on the bottom. So I think I'm going to chop it down, but stick them both into the same pot. All right, so this one does have a little bit of root rot, I'm not gonna lie. Only a little bit though, like on some of the ends. So this is the roots and what they're looking like. So I'm actually gonna cut this multiple times, and I'm gonna stick it on the same pot. So we'll have like multiple pieces growing at the same time, but it'll be like a more bushier plant so that I don't have to add such a tall moss pole right away. I'm gonna do the same thing and do a Leca layer at the bottom. So I just want to combine them because I feel like it would look nice if it's like bushier. And then once it starts getting bigger, then I can start adding a moss pole and having them all like climb up it. So I think that will look nice. Majority of my plants that are on moss poles, they're just single vine. So I definitely want another plant that would just be bushy growing up a moss pole, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna just honestly just stick them in. I'm gonna put them all facing the same direction, obviously, so that when the time comes, I can easily put them up on the pole. All right, so I basically just positioned the plants where I want them. Honestly, it doesn't look the greatest, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's gonna look good as it gets bigger, you know what I mean? But I just really like the bushy look, so I would just prefer it to like look like this, honestly. I just want like a big bushy plant. All right, so this is what it looks like. Honestly, it doesn't look good, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it's gonna look good in the future, so just give me a break, all right? I really don't put multiple plants in one pot, so I just don't even know how to make it look right. Hopefully it'll look better later, right? I don't know. I just want it to be bushy, that's all I want. But yeah, I think it looks cute. This is how it's looking. It definitely looks much fuller now. It doesn't look so like straggly. I do plan on letting this grow out and just keep chopping and propping it really until I really get the look that I'm going for. And then once I get the look that I'm going for, I'm going to chop it, and then you'll see it on the shop as well. The next plant is the same situation. This is a Monstera Adansonii mint. Pretty much all of my Adansonii are in semi-hydro except for my two newest ones, my Aria and my Albo, but eventually they will too. This guy has started on a moss pole, lost all of its leaves here, and now this is what we're left with. So I'm gonna take it out of here because it's been growing in here quite a while. It looks like it has some rot as well, lots of algae buildup. So I'm going to take it out, and I'm definitely going to cut this one as well. So I'm going to take it off of the pole first so that the leca doesn't go flying everywhere. And this one is actually growing into the pole. So I'm going to try my best to be careful with this guy because, like I said, it's growing in the pole. Honestly, I might just leave the bottom part on the pole. It's already growing into it, so I don't want to like pull it out and everything. It looks like it's going to be a task to pull it out. This is the top cut. I'm also going to stick the base into the pot as well, and then I'm just going to connect this back onto the pole since I want to use this pole anyway. This plant is connected to it. I don't want to be messing with it like that. So I did run out of some pon, so I'm going to take all of this used pon and go clean it up, and I will be right back. I just took all this old pon that was already in the pots before, and I just cleaned it up. How I clean up the pon is honestly I just use really hot water, and I just put it through a strainer and just rinse it until it's clear. And then I'll just, you know, scrub it with my hands to get off all the extra roots and stuff like that. I don't really do too much with it. I mean, you can boil it if you want to, but I don't usually do that. So I'm going to do a leca layer at the bottom, but I'm also going to put some pon in the middle as well, just so I can bring the plant a little higher up. So like I said, this stick is attached to the moss pole, and I don't want to take it off because it's already like sticking to the leca, which is ideal. So this bottom cut is going to continue to grow as it is with its current roots, and eventually it will put out a growth point and put out a leaf, and it'll start to be its own plant. We have the top cut here, so I'm going to also position this in here so that the aerial node is like down here, and that it's also touching the moss pole so that both can grow up like that. So I'm just going to actually attach both of the plants to the pole just so that they can be stable. So I'm just going to fill it up now. I'm gonna just fill the pole only a little bit because there's not that many aerial roots anyway. So I'm just gonna do it a little bit, and then as needed I can go back and fill it up. So this is what this guy is looking like here. It's not as high variegation as I would like, but it is what it is. It just depends on the genetics of the plant, but all in all, I do really love this plant. So since I took fresh cuttings of 2 of these, I'm going to make sure I give them a really good drink before I put them away. So like I said, I am going to be putting all of these plants in these 6-inch deep saucers. They're going to go in like that, and then I'm going to fill the saucer and make that the water reservoir. So that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. It's very simple. If you're somebody who really likes to flush your leca and your pon plants, because I know a lot of you guys are always like, how do you flush it if it's in a non-drainage? Like, the truth is that I don't. Like, that's just it. I just don't. I really don't have an issue, but if you're somebody who likes to flush their plant, this is a great pot for that because you can literally take it to the sink and run the water through it, and it's going to come through the bottom and it's going to come through the side. This is great if you like to flush your semi-hydro plants. I feel like this method can definitely work in several different pots as long as the drainage holes aren't too big. If you do a layer of leca on the bottom and then do your pon, it will be the same thing, I'm pretty sure. Here's all the plants. As you can see, the Florida Beauty is massive, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. So thank you again, Kyra, for this suggestion. I'm definitely going to use this technique more often now. I feel like it opens a lot of opportunity for some of my bigger semi-hydro plants, so I'm looking forward to using this method again. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this repotting video, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday with another plant shop vlog.